Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. It's episode 139 of the show. I am joined by a full house this evening here in the G4 Claims studio. As thank you to them as always. I'm Ryan, and I'm joined by my three marvellous guests. Starting with the man to my left, Mr. Calum Craig. Calum, how are you doing?
Okay, good. Just finished work, but shift flies by when you think about talking about Celtic all night.
I really like the jacket. I didn't say it to you earlier. That's nice.
It's fucking wee vintage number.
Wee vintage number. That's fucking showing off in front of us. Fucking hell, nice. On the other side of the table, got another couple of show-offs, starting with Dylan. How you doing, sir?
It's good to be back, Ryan. Full house, I think we've walked in like Evolution now. Evolution
is a mystery. If you were to pick a member at Evolution that you would want to be, who would it be? Don't say Ric Flair.
A bit Randy Orton, man.
Randy Orton.
Just do the ripple.
Kieran sitting beside you, like, I don't even know who's in. If you've got a choice, you can be either Ric Flair, who's an old nonce, and you can be Batista, or Randy Orton, or Triple H.
I'll go Randy Orton.
Oh, there's two Randy Ortons in. Kieran, on that note, hello.
Hello.
That's very awkward, isn't it?
I've never sat so far away from somebody in this podcast studio. I mean, it might be lost on you at home, but this is Mr. Burns' dinner table we're sat at.
I'm quite literally a million miles away. So picture the long table, and it's like you've seen it before when the three is usually sit at one side. Me and Kieran are facing off here.
I know. It's already got a game of beer pong or something.
How you doing?
I know bad. It's just been the usual working. But we now have the blessing of the 4-day weekend before we need to go back to reality. So
Easter weekend, great weekend for the Catholics. Fantastic weekend. No, I tell you, it's weird because I was just thinking there as I went through all 3 years, like, the regular viewers must be buzzing to hear everybody come on every week and go, just walking away. Nothing exciting at all.
For any of the younger viewers, this is a horrific look into your future.
Have you watched, well, Celtic Thunder didn't exist in 2018, but if they watched it then, we'd have some stuff. We'd come on and go, we're in Kokomo last night, Cushion the night after that, but no. Sorry.
Is Cushion even still a thing now?
It's Murdoch now.
Is that still home?
I think so, aye.
No. The guy turned this into the Glasgow Nightclub podcast.
Oh, do you remember?
Remember Shimmy when I used to go in and shimmy your shammy?
Oh dear.
Oh God almighty, I'm old. Right, anyway, on that note, we should Unk still got it. We should probably talk about the Sellik. Granted, it's been a what do you make of this week? Because do you feel like it's all winding down now? Because it's been pretty quiet. Do you feel it's kind of getting a wee bit pedestrian? Maybe not on the pitch. Great performance against Kilmarnock at the weekend, back to your best. But I don't know about you, but there seems to be a sense of let's get this done and out the way. I don't know. It just feels very mundane.
I think because at the weekend there we had the near miss of it being like one out with like no even by our doing. I think because that nearly happened, it's kind of took it away a wee bit, and you've just sort of, I don't know. You said the word pedestrian. It might be like that just because I was just wanting it wrapped up.
Aye.
There's all the talk of when we can win the league now, like people wanting to win it at certain stadiums rather than the first port of call, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But no, they just want it wrapped up. But it's good that you've got a semi-final. You're looking ahead to.
I know. I don't want to use the word pedestrian and to make it seem like I'm like, I can't be. I think it's just because we know, right, there's a treble on the line. Let's fast forward to that because we all want a treble. We just want the nonsense there and done with and the success right there. But I mean, Calum, Celtic back to their best at the weekend, 5-1 against Kilmarnock. Got to be happy with that.
No, massive. I think especially after the previous performance through Perth, I think it needed a performance like that for Celtic. You needed something a bit more convincing. Because again, I mean, for the fact that we're conceding the first 5 minutes against St Johnstone, you couldn't do anything after that. So it was a nice convincing one.
Dylan, a lot of players back to their best. I think Carter Vickers, Hatate especially, looked like they were back to what they can offer. You want to see that more regularly. Just an overall good day.
It was a brilliant day, brilliant performance. It was nice to see Celtic back to their form, and that's the only annoying thing is it was a champions performance that felt like a game that should have wrapped up the title. I feel like it was one I played for us with the stands at St Johnstone should have won, and then took it to Parkhead on that sunny day with a big scoreline like that. But it was nice to see Celtic sweep aside Kilmarnock and gain us that good confidence going into the cup game, and lovely goals for Hatate and Carter Vickers with a big screamer, which was good to see. So hopefully that brings them onto the game on Sunday for
Two goal of the season nominees, last minute entries, both of them in there. I hope you have dotted down who's you're voting for. I'll come at these to the end of the show, so have a think for your player of the season and goal of the season. We'll come on to that. But no, a good performance from Celtic, back to their best, and of course now, Kieran, as you kind of touched on, we have a chance to win the league title at Tannadice in a couple of weeks' time. We're obviously going to be previewing the St Johnstone game more in this show than looking too far ahead, but the split fixtures are out. It was a big talking point this week. You give me your thoughts, what are you thinking?
Well, I feel like the main takeaway, obviously, it was just people predicting when we were going to be getting certain games and that. It's the whole thing that's been playing in my mind is, I mean, it's not like a majority of people are saying it, but it's when you've got people saying, oh no, like, let's throw the game at Tannadice and we'll win the league at Ibrox. I'm like, what in the last 2 games against them has gave you the confidence? I know, the cup final as well. What in the games has gave you the confidence that we would, if we did go and lose to Dundee United, then go and win at Ibrox? I'm like, I don't know what you're... this level of optimism's coming through, but I just want it done at the earliest possible time, and I think most people are in that boat. I think it's just a few people hopefully try to take the piss a wee bit on Twitter, but I'm sure there's some people that genuinely think that, but I just want it wrapped up. I would have loved it to have been wrapped up that weekend there. Obviously you'd prefer to win it yourself, knowing that the game that you've just played has won the title instead of waiting for a result elsewhere, but nah, I do just want it wrapped up, and I really don't buy the people saying they would rather win at Ibrox.
Don't get me wrong, it would be nice.
No, it would
to
be,
win,
but give me winning it. Tannadice any day.
I'll put it this way to you, and I'll say this to you, Calum. But I mean, you throw a game. I don't even know why we're entertaining this conversation, to be honest. But you throw a game to Dundee United, right? Suddenly you're down to 11, 10 points of a lead because Rangers say go on and win their game, and then you don't win against Rangers, and then suddenly the league goes down to 8 points. Of course we're going to win the league. We need 1 point in the last 5 games, but you don't want this to be a season that ends up Celtic winning the league by 6, 7, 8 points. We've been better than that, and we've been much better than Rangers in that. So I just don't see the sense in why you'd want to start throwing games away, to be honest.
Nah, honestly, I don't get it. I think as Kieran said, I just want it done at the first port of call. Just go to Tannadice, put in a good performance, get the result, you'd have won it on your own doing. Again, our last 3 performances against them have been nothing short of abysmal. It feels like the cup final, you can kind of free you take your chances and you do them, but then the game in January, non-existent. And again, you can kind of say the last game at Parkhead, we're unlucky with it's a last minute goal that does it for you, but we've been nowhere near convincing enough at times. I'd rather it done nice and early.
Haven't they beat them in 90 minutes in September? That's the way you got to look at it. So what's to say that we're going to beat them in 90 minutes at Ibrox when the season is effectively done? I mean, Dylan, at the end of the day, we're still going to go to Ibrox as champions should we get that 1 point that we need, and that for me is enough.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, who's to say Rangers will beat St Mirren? I mean, the last 2 games Rangers have lost to St Mirren, so even if we did somehow throw it away to Dundee United, who's to say we could still win it anyway? But as you said, Ryan, it'd be good to just wrap up at Tannadice, as you've all said, a place we've been familiar with winning the league lately, so I get it wrapped up there, and as you said, you don't want to be throwing points and getting them close and just stumble over the line to the finish. So I hopefully see another better and then head to Ibrox as champions and get a guard of honour.
What we're saying is, if you're of the opinion we should throw the game at Tannadice, You're nuts. Have a look at yourself. On that note, you brought up the Guard of Honour. What is making the whole Guard of Honour? Is it just pish that should be thrown to the side?
It is pish, because see if we do win at Tannadice, it's going to be a week of journalists writing stories that they don't really care about, but they're doing it because they know the engagement's there, because it's going to have about 300 comments on Facebook of people arguing amongst each other. People for their support saying, I know you should definitely do it, and then like it's just not going to happen. I mean, it's a good laugh in that, but it's tiresome hearing this shit. Like,
That's every year.
I don't expect them to give us a Guard of Honour when we win the league, like, especially it's not going to
I
happen.
don't even mind the last time it even happened anyway, to be honest. Like,
Does anybody genuinely care? Does even the players care? I mean, Johnson came out himself and said, I don't care about a Guard of Honour, I just want to get my hands in the trophy.
Exactly.
Like,
That's the main thing.
11 guys, like, or 15 or so guys or whatever, lining up in my pod. Who cares? You know? I mean, maybe I just don't get it because I'm not a player, but
Nah.
not for me.
I'd be shocked if the players were genuinely aggrieved at no getting it.
Aye.
I mean, I've seen people digging up the Tavernier tweet for like years
Aye.
ago, like saying thank you to whoever the fuck it was in the championship. Proper sportsmanship.
That's the thing. It's like, it's a very, I don't know, I could be completely off here, but it feels like a very British Isles thing to do. Is it even a thing abroad? I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
You don't see it, don't you know?
I thought manners was universal.
Listen, I've been to some countries where manners just don't exist, right? I've been to some. It'll be a conversation that'll come and go. Who gives a fucking shit? That's all I can say. That'll all happen in the next few weeks. We'll move on with that. On that note, we have one big story today before we preview any football, which broke literally about an hour before we came out to record, and that was in relation to Greg Taylor. Headlines reported by the Daily Record and Scott Burns saying that Celtic are set to offer Greg Taylor a bumper contract to try and keep him in Glasgow as we get to the kind of last couple of months of his contract. Celtic are ready to up the ante and want to offer Greg Taylor a new and improved 3-year deal to keep him with Brendan Rodgers' side. It looked like the 27-year-old was set to leave on a free contract at the end of the season, with Zagreb leading the chase, but it would see Taylor get a significant wage rise on his current deal and would keep him at Celtic Park until the summer of 2028. The issue for Taylor remains he will still have to play back up to the returning Kieran Tierney. All I can say is massive day for Dylan Murdoch. Huge day. I'll come to you first. You started your time on the podcast by declaring your love for Greg Taylor. So how do you receive the news tonight?
To be honest, I'm actually a bit surprised. Like, I think Brendan Rodgers is a big fan of Greg Taylor as well, and obviously we've seen he did good at the weekend. But I always thought like he would always want to be like in the starting 11 every week. No, that I hope he does sign a contract and that to be a good backup, because you know he can do a job in the league anyway. You don't need, knows if Kieran Tierney's going to play every single game. No need like passing that. But it'll be really interesting to see the future if he does sign the contract, because we all spoke about the podcast. We thought for sure he would have been away, so we'll see how it goes. But I think it would be quite good if Greg Taylor stays. It's just better options at left back, innit?
I thought it was off. I mean, I can see why the club are making an effort. I mean, Rodgers publicly said he wants to keep him around. But I'm surprised, Calum. I don't know about you. I didn't really expect it to come out. Maybe after the last few weeks and a really good performance the weekend, it kind of takes the element of surprise down a little bit. I can see why the club want to keep him. But your thoughts?
No, I think as both of you have said there, I think we were all under the illusion that Urky's away. That's it. He's had his time at the club. Fair play to him. See where he ends up. But I think you say it's the last couple of performances. I think it's kind of switched a couple of folk on that maybe we should actually go with the offer. I thought they'd have still continued with there's your 3 years, but you're not getting the money you're asking for. But I can only assume obviously somebody's in kind of event right. I can only maybe if we've had a word with Schlupp and Schlupp's like, don't really fancy it full time, and that's why we've now then went down that route. Because personally, I don't know how many folk seen say it on Twitter, get Schlupp in the free contract, and then obviously Tierney came in front of him. But no, quite glad if he has to go and sign it. I'm happy to see him stay at the club.
So we've got two people who are happy. Calum, do you share the happiness? That's Kieran Auld is cancelled.
But I'll admit I've never been Greg Taylor's biggest fan. I feel like he's had a very up and down time at Celtic. Obviously under Ange, the second season he really kicked on. Never really happened under Rodgers, I feel, he's came in for a lot of stick, especially on the European stage. But when it comes to being a backup option, I've always said I wouldn't mind him being the backup option. As Dylan said, it's a good point. Tierney's not going to play every single game. We'll run him into the ground if we try and do that to Kieran Tierney. So the question now is, would he, like we've spoken about it, would he accept to be playing second fiddle? Because that we've spoken about this months ago in the podcast when all the contract talk was finally coming to like the headlines. Is it reasonable to expect him to stay and be backup, because he already plays third fiddle at Scotland behind Kieran Tierney and Andrew Robertson and all these players? Well, he want to do that. Does he want that to be his legacy, his career? But then again, we're talking about a bumper new deal here. Money talks. If he's getting offered enough money, and with all due respect, the options on the table are hardly very glamorous. I've been to Zagreb.
Zagreb was a lovely town. It was a lovely place.
It's alright.
The stadium,
Stadium's an absolute relic, but realistically, it's up to him. I think if you're that set on you want to play first team football and that, but it is at the age he is, he's just had a wane in that. I mean, we always don't really talk about football players as if they are human beings, but that's a lot to up sticks a young family to go and move to Croatia. For me, I mean, it might be proved right if he doesn't sign the contract and goes to Croatia. That seems like the kind of one that would be back in 6 months, a year.
Aye.
That just has disaster written all over it, like, to me. But was it MLS options? In that
apparently there was MLS options, English Championship options, a couple of maybe European-based options.
It is just going to come down to him now.
Somebody did raise the point, one of the former, I can't remember who it was exactly, maybe Petrov or somebody like that, came out and said, like, like, this is the only chance Greg Taylor's got left in his career of playing Champions League football. Like, that's, and even though he might not play a lot of it because Tierney's here, this is a lot. There's no Champions League clubs that are going to be in, and then people go, oh, Zagreb is one, but Zagreb aren't. I don't think Zagreb are anywhere near the top of the table right now.
We were talking about this at the weekend.
They sacked Fabio Cannavaro. Like, they're not in a good place. So Zagreb aren't going to be in the Champions League next year. There's no guarantee they're going to be back in it the season following that. And there's no other teams in the table that are offering Greg Taylor what Celtic offer him in terms of a wage, in terms of whatever. So it's a bit, the thing is with Taylor, right, and you'll all agree with this, I know this for a fact because it's true, he's one of those players that it suffers from the extreme highs and the extreme lows. When he plays well, people are like, great player, reliable player, and if he plays shite, it's get rid of him, he's never been good enough, we don't want. There seems to be no in between with Greg Taylor, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with him, because the fans are so for him or against him.
Final's a good way to sum up, Ryan, isn't it? Obviously conceded the first goal, and then went and get equaliser again. I know it was a deflection, but still there to do it, innit? So,
you know, for 1 minute people are shouting these, like, I remember Kieran will tell you in one of the, was it the Bayern game? It was the Bayern game. At folk in our section, including myself, were screaming abuse because he was at fault for the goal, wasn't he? He was at fault for Bayern's goal. And you're just thinking the boy's no good enough. But then you watch him play like he did against Kilmarnock, and you're like, oh, but he is good. And it's just, he's a very weird
that player. Sentence itself, though, it cost the goal against Bayern Munich. He done good against Kilmarnock. That shows the level you're getting with him. We're happy to have him as the backup domestically, but I don't trust him. I know there's still people that like him and that, but I don't trust him on the European stage. I think a lot of people would back me up on that, but I do think he'll be alright as a backup option, but I just don't see him wanting to.
Well, let me word it like this. I'll go around the table and get your thoughts about whether you think he'll sign it. So we're all saying I'd be happy for him to sign on and be the backup. More than happy. We all know that's the level we're talking about here. So, big shout out to the guys at Celtic Exchange and Tino over there who worded it really well when I was listening to their show. He said, you know, somebody comes to you in any walk of life and says, oh, we want you, but we don't really want you. We want you to do this behind this guy. And the way he worded it was, imagine sitting down for the contract and go, right, Kieran's coming in, so you can have the St Johnstones, you can have the Motherwells. Kieran can get the Real Madrids and the Bayern Munichs and whatnot. Like, it's not a very nice thing to hear. You don't want to be second best in anything. So I guess my question is, do you think you'll want to sign the contract, Calum, with this big wage rise? Do you think you'll put pen to paper?
I think the biggest factor it will be that wage rise, more than most of the fact. Realistically, I don't think he's something that's going to be blessed with many options even after this deal's done. I feel like he has to kind of try and get his family in the best position possible, more so the fact he's only just had his wee girl there. I think I can see him sign it, but part of me feels like it'd be reluctant to sign it solely because of the way you've put it. To Kieran will play the derbies, Kieran will play the big games. You can get the bottom six, basically. Do you know what I mean? Christian, you'll play against the bottom six, occasionally the top six here and there. I don't know. I think it's trying to put yourself in his shoes more than anything, because again, it's so easy for us to go, contract signed, the money you own, fucking dating for that money. But I think it does need to be a bit selfish.
Thank fuck you're on the negotiating table, Ryan. You're like, so Kieran's going to do the good stuff.
Because that's essentially what he's getting told,
I know.
Just I might be loved at his arse.
I think Michael Nixon's got a bit more business acumen.
But like, you know, if you dumb it down, if you've got
essentially that
negotiations for dummies, you know, that's what they're saying.
You know what's happening, alright? We're all big.
And I'm pretty sure Greg Taylor's under no illusion to that either. He know Kieran Tierney's ahead of him in the Scotland team for a reason. He's ahead of him in the Celtic team when he comes back for a reason. He's in the Champions League semi-final, for goodness sake. Like, this is the level of player we're talking about here. And I don't think Greg Taylor is dumb enough to turn around and ignore any of that. So he is in that situation where he does know what he's getting into should he sign the contract. So I'll ask you the same question, Dylan. Do you think he'll do it?
I think I'm on the same boat as Calum, to be honest. I think the way he said it, obviously he's just had a kid, and obviously if the wage rise is good enough, I think he probably will sign it. But at the same time, in his head, I think at that age he'll want to be playing football weekly, every week, and he's not guaranteed that with Kieran Tierney coming in. So it's quite a 50-50. That's why we're surprised that he's thinking about staying, but I wouldn't be surprised both ways, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to sit in the fence, but it is that way, I think.
That's hard.
I'd say maybe he will sign it, but you wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't.
And you're leaning more to the no signing.
I do want me to sign it, but part of me is just, I mean, I think it's just because I've been convinced for so long that he's away. I still can't shake that feeling. I feel like all the points I've said in the past few months, even though he has been offered this new bumper deal, I think it still stands. And as Dylan just made the point there, he is entering the prime years of his career. He will want to be playing, but it will just come down to money.
The thing with me is I want to know how much it actually is, you know, because that's... I said this about the live stream the other night. Like, if they're paying Kieran Tierney, we're hearing Kieran Tierney could be on as much as 50 grand a week. It's not been confirmed. It might not be as much as 50, but could be as much as 50. So just say it's somewhere in that. It's got to be on the same as McGregor at least, who's apparently on 40 grand. So you're talking between 40 50,000 pounds a week. And then Greg Taylor's probably going to be getting offered what here, somewhere between 15, 20 grand a week. And they're going to spend that much monthly on left backs. That's what I'm really intrigued to know the number. Gordon Duncan came out and cried one last night and said, and I don't want to put words in Gordon Duncan's mouth, but he came out and said that the rumours hearing that Greg Taylor was looking for 25 grand are nonsense. It was never as much as that. So, but still, it's like you'd picture Celtic paying, let's just say, absolute top end £70,000 a week on left backs. That's a lot of fucking money on a fucking left back, you know? So it's a weird one. I like you though, Greg. So stay if you like.
That's really going to
Hit the master negotiator at work again.
It's up to you.
Get me in the boardroom. Get some signings made. So Greggy, that's that. I don't think there was anything else in detailed in the article that indicated any form of what he's leaning towards. Don't think anybody really knows bar Greg Taylor himself, but yeah, surprised nonetheless. Any kind of final thoughts on the matter before I move us on?
None it come to mind.
No.
You could hear a pin drop. You can hear a pin drop. Half time. Let's go into the half time quiz, which has been sent in by a viewer this week.
Shout out to your old pal Nathan,
my arch nemesis. So I'll pass it over to Dylan to do the
so boys, it is a wee tenable for Nathan. So it's the last 10 different Scottish Cup goal scorers at Hampden Park inspired for the weekend against St Johnstone. So whenever he's ready, last 10 different goal scorers.
Different goal scorers.
We just do one each going around the table.
I may as well.
Try and go chronologically.
Can't even remember what the Scottish Cup final was last year, you know that?
It was Adam Ida.
That's right, so it was. I'd have been there all day.
Jack Butland Bulldog.
And then Year before that was the Inverness game.
Yeah.
No.
Wait,
Oh,
it's
sorry,
just at Hampden, isn't
Sorry,
it?
semi-finals as well.
Aye, you
Oh,
can
so-
say
oh,
I was
so-
thinking
so-
finals.
so was that,
Aye,
so was
right,
that.
sorry, my bad.
My bad, that.
Who saw me?
So that's like close. Is it just Scottish Cup though?
Just Scottish Cup, aye. Scottish Cup.
Uh,
The League Cups.
Right, so the semi-final was a for each game, wasn't it? Which we seen goals from.
What a stressful game that was, by the way.
Who scored in
I
that?
think I've got a couple for that
Feel
game.
free, file them in.
Right, so,
No, I'm panicking.
right, who are we talking about there?
Aberdeen for each.
Right.
Mm,
So just semi-finals overall? Or semi-finals?
just
semi-finals
game
and
Any
finals.
down?
Scottish Cup game at Hampden.
No.
The last 10 individual scorers.
aye.
Penalty shootout goals don't count.
Yeah,
Just
I assumed that.
Just something like
I'm actually trying to think who scored the goals for us in that 3 each. I think he might have. But
Who'd you say?
how many lives do we get?
3 lives, aye. 3 lives and you're out.
that.
Go on, Cam.
Go for it.
Aye.
Did O'Reilly?
Matt O'Reilly is number 2, correct.
Oh, there you go.
Fucking, he was on it, scored to make it 3-2, I'm sure.
Good finish as well.
Tell you,
Aye.
my head's a sieve. I don't remember it.
See, I feel like I've got a player in my head, but it's a player that wasn't very good
Can I
last year.
just skip for
Aye.
a, can I just skip for a
Aye.
moment?
Aye.
Who'd you say?
Kuhn.
Kuhn?
Aye.
Nicholas Kuhn is correct. Number 4.
Can
The first goal.
Can I skip to the game against Inverness so I can contribute and just say Jota for a minute?
Correct, Ryan. That's number 5.
Thanks.
He's on the board.
Keel got in for that game as well.
That's correct. That is number 7.
So we've
Kyogo.
got 1, 2.
4, 5, and 7. So 5. That's right. 5.
We're missing one for
three
the
each
Aberdeen. Aye.
Did Scale score that day? Don't know why I have a pure
It does
doubt.
not.
Oh shit! I wasn't actually.
You can't say it loud,
Oh
Ryan.
shit!
You've lost a life.
Why the heck Scale scored that day?
Sorry, that's
I
good.
honestly don't know.
I thought he did. So I got 2 lives left.
So the goal scorers we got for that, did we get the?
O'Reilly and Kuhn.
But have we got somebody in between them in that
Yeah.
game? Aye, right.
Aye.
So who the fuck scored that next one? I don't even remember
There they are.
the goals.
There they are. Could tell you.
O'Reilly's the only one that comes to mind. I'm sure he stuck it that bin.
Mm.
Aye.
Aye. That's only
Who was before Inverness? Let's skip to that for a minute. Who did we play in the semi-final? Was that Rangers?
Aye. Was it?
Don't know.
Oh my god.
Some Sellik fans.
Your sieve-like mind is rubbing off on me. Why am I doing myself? It's always fucking them, but
It's the brain rot that's got to me, man. Honestly.
I know defo. Aye, no, but it was Jota that scored in that game. It was
Right,
the
so we
heater.
can't say
So
that.
Aye,
he's
so
Think
different
for
goals.
my header.
So
Aye.
we're going back again
Oh Christ! The
to
year.
the year where they put us out, and it was Greg Taylor that
Oh, Kieran,
scored.
correct. Well
So
done,
he's
son.
number
Aye.
what?
And
That's
then-
number 8.
Number 8.
And we need to go back to.
So you've still got 9, 10, and 3.
So that was
You're,
it,
you're
20.
going back
Yeah,
to
9, 10 again.
COVID season.
COVID season.
So
The last.
Griffiths.
So that's correct. That's number 9. Kieran's got that as well. So,
That was was that finished
The-
for each as well?
Aye.
so I think it's just number 3 and number 10 you have to get. If I'm
Hangy.
correct. I think that's right.
So
Oh,
the
6 and all, sorry. I thought you get 6.
Tangano
Three
scored a
goals.
penalty to make it 2-0. Craig Gordon's raging, mate.
Eddie, aye.
That's correct, boys.
Aye, so-
I'm trying to remember.
we
That's
need-
number 10 in the
That's
list.
ten.
Right.
We need the other goal scorer for the Aberdeen 3 each. We need the other goal scorer for the Inverness Cup final because we got Kyogo and Jota, but who scored?
See, I want to suggest somebody, but I don't.
Same.
2 to go, and you've got 2 lives, boys. 2 lives. So.
I'm thinking.
How about you,
Are
Pop, boys?
you thinking of a winger
Aye,
for the Inverness game?
aye,
Is it and a winger that doesn't play for us anymore?
aye.
Are you thinking of somebody who's from a controversial country? It's
Why is this like accurate or something?
Is it Leah Abada?
You're correct, boys.
Aye.
Leal
I was thinking-
Abada.
That's what I was thinking.
Brilliant. So now we're going back to that
We've got 3
3
each
each game.
game.
And we've got 2 lives,
Aye.
2 lives.
Is that the last one?
And
Is it on 9?
O'Reilly and
This is
Kuhn
the
So
last
it's
scored.
9 out of 10.
and it's no Liam Scales.
No, we
It's not
get
Liam Scales.
clarified that.
Did Scalesy play that day?
Do not guess my game.
I'd like to guess Liam Scales.
I'll take a leaf off.
Oh, fuck.
Because it would have been this would have been the goal. Did they go
I'm
to
sure
him?
Kuhn scored the first.
I know he did
Somebody
that.
get clattered and he hits it.
Because he scored up their end.
Aye.
And O'Reilly scored up Celtic end.
Ah, fuck.
I still cannot remember. But I'm just trying to think who would be likely to have.
Was it? I have a guess, but I don't know if I'm right. I don't
The main man for
Too
this
late, we want to
season.
go.
What?
The main man.
That's
for
what I
that.
was going to say, aye.
Do I just guess
Aye,
it?
is it Dyson Maeda?
Incorrect. Pressure's on now, boys. One life, we want to go.
Right, so
It's got to be some numpty in it.
That's a surprise, man.
Wait.
There's no scored in any of that.
was it the homegrown hero? Who outside the box? Low driven. No. I'm not really fancying that, but remember he went through the good spell.
I think you
He,
might be
he
right.
went through the good spell.
I'd like to say George Sapnick.
Because he
I
did
think
go
you
through
might
that
be right
spell. Am I just
Yeah,
going
go
for
for
it?
it. Go for it.
James Forrest.
Dun dun. Kieran. Ryan, Calum.
Yes.
Yous have... Oh, correct. James
As soon
Forrest.
as you said that, rang a bell.
Just as well you took it. I was going to say Calum
They've
McGregor.
got it.
When you said homegrown hero, I was like, right. So there you go.
Well done, boys.
I hope you all completed it at home much quicker than what we did. But
Not many settling scales either.
I think that we had a good go at that there, to be honest. Talking about Hampden, it's where Celtic return this weekend. Hampden Sunday, 3 o'clock. Celtic take on St Johnstone, who of course got the better of us last time we met each other. St Johnstone Parkers, what we say there. McDermott Park. 1-0. It was a bad day at the office, Calum. The pressure much higher this time because there's a treble on the line. So ultimately we need to do much better than what we done last time.
Definitely, I think, as you said, with the treble on the line, and more so because this having that one-off game factor, I don't feel like St Johnstone will come into the game with much fear behind it, considering they got the better of us last time. So they have got a method of playing against it. You can only hope Brendan's watched it back, analysed it through with the team, seen where there was, what the kind of weak points were for us trying to go forward, and hopefully has made fixes.
They done what they had to do, and they arguably, I hate saying it, executed a plan perfectly. You could see from the first whistle they were wasting time at every dead ball situation. They were getting the ball high in the box to try and scare Vickers and Trusty. So all the things are there. This time round, Celtic can't be as, I'll come back to the word I used earlier, pedestrian or mundane. And the start to the game, they need to start more ruthless than what they did up McDermott Park.
Oh, definitely. I think it needs to be a game where it does have that 100 mile an hour start from us. You need to just go for it, because again, you've seen it from the St Johnstone game. They just took the ball and done it's the typical rugby tactic. Just launch it right into the corner and just keep you pinned in. Do that for 5 minutes, you get a set piece and you get your goal from it. We need to start just as quick as what I'm expecting them to.
Dylan, your thoughts about the weekend going into it? Any nerves? How you feeling?
Just for me, right, I think the main thing I'm focused on is the start to the game, as Cam's touched on. It needs to be a good start. I feel like the St Johnstone game should be a wake-up call for that, because I think there's a lot of times this season Celtic have started slow and it's punished us. The last thing you want is St Johnstone be up for it. If it looks like they're going to get relegated, so they'll be really up for trying to get the cup, and they've obviously won the Scottish Cup before, so lately more than others. So they'll be up for it. The fans will be up for it at Hampden. But no, I think Celtic just need to start the game well, because as you you don't want St Johnstone. The physicality could be a factor as well. If they go 1-0 up, they're going to Todd on for dear life. We've seen it plenty of times, and it happened at McDermott Park. So for me, I just think Celtic need to start the game better than they have the last couple of weeks in games. So that's what I'm looking for most forward
It's been a trend, isn't it? And the games where we haven't played as well, or where we've been dubbed as bland or whatnot, it's always the start. I feel like it's came back to haunt us. We've always just started slow and we can never shift.
Even last season, we were talking about it for each game. I think Aberdeen took your lead early, so you
they
just
did,
want to
aye.
avoid you want to avoid stuff like that in these fixtures, because it will just make St Johnstone more up for it if they get a goal up. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully it's the Celtic, the Aberdeen 6-0 game, the way they start that game. So hopefully it's that Celtic.
Dylan makes a good point. I never really considered the whole. This basically could be St Johnstone's whole season. Last ditch effort on the line. I think there's 6 points adrift at the bottom. Realistically, they're not going to overturn that. I mean, it could by a miracle, but this is the last chance to really make any joy out of the season. So, Kieran, you never know what you're going to expect of these teams. Sometimes we take these match previews on the podcast for granted and go, just do what you normally do. But there is an element of this game that could cause problems for Celtic.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've sat here and spoke a fair amount, especially in the last podcast. We had the rants about the game that happened at McDermott Park. You can choose to look at it as we got that fright there, against the team we're going to be facing in the semi-final. It gives us a look in to how they're going to set up in that. I mean, we should have known they were going to set up and try and go for the early goal, but as Calum and Dylan have said, it is just about getting that fast start to the game, because it has been too many times this season we've just been so slow in our play at the start of games. It kind of has the feeling the players have turned up thinking, just turn up and we'll win this game. But going into a semi-final, especially against a team like St Johnstone, who, I mean, Dylan did say that they've gotten there a lot more recent than some other teams, but these days don't come round often for the players or the fans. They're going to be well up for it, despite being vastly outnumbered inside Hampden on Sunday. This is a massive, massive day for them, and you said it can maybe be taken for granted being a Celtic fan, going to Hampden X amount of times early years. So I think it is just the players won't be having the sort of lackadaisical approach they did going to McDermott Park, hopefully.
Aye.
Hopefully lessons have been learned, but as they said, a fast start.
Did we play St Johnstone in a League Cup semi under Ange, didn't we?
James Forrest scored.
Aye,
It was 2021.
I thought that. Because I was thinking to myself, is this the first time they've been there since the double? Like they'd be with no fans, but it's no, because we played them. But on that note, what I was going to say was, I hope it's similar to remember the last semi-final we went in, it was Aberdeen League Cup.
We drew to each for them.
And I were like, oh God almighty, we need to, and then bang, 6-0, pumped them. Like, I'm hoping that's what happens this week.
I would love for that to happen this weekend.
Well, let's open the floor. What does Celtic need to do differently? What does Celtic need to change? What's bar the start of the game we've talked about? Would you like to see some changes in terms of personnel this weekend, Calum? Anybody in particular that comes to mind?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, we usually do the usual team predictions, but I feel like the team does usually just kind of sort itself out. I think it's just tactically we need to change a couple of wee things. I think it's because, as we're saying, with this fast start, but you need to keep the tempo up throughout it. Doesn't matter if we get 2-3-0 up. I can't be bothered with us doing that. And then it's left back to centre back, right back, and it just keeps that moving motion. Like, yeah, it's nice to keep possession and control games, but at the same time, like, when a team's there for the taking, you need to go for it.
Well, you're at markered in for the final early. Yeah. May as well. Should we do team predictions? Should we talk through the team? Unless, has anybody got anything to say about the actual game itself that I've maybe no covered?
No, the point I was going to raise is what Calum just said, but because, I mean, we sat there and watched it with our own eyes up at McDermott Park, how slow we were on the ball. There was, I mean, I said that in the ground as well, but there was times where the pass was on to the wing, like to Jota, for Trusty to make and try and get the play moving, and instead of making that forward progressive pass, it's the safety of going back. And
this makes it a daft question, and tell me it's sharp if it is, right? But
sharp.
Thanks. Does the pitch make a difference at Hampden?
See, I was going to say this because obviously it is the notoriously a talking point when you go to Hampden. You're saying it suits the teams like us who want to keep possession and ping the ball about the park. It gets the opposition team that are going to be chasing the game, hopefully, having to sit in. They're going to have tired legs, and we'll come on to talking about like who you want to start up front and that, but I think that's a question to be raised on the bigger park. It is a different prospect to having to have like a target man up front to bring the ball down that. I mean, we'll save it, but I do think that's a talking point in itself.
Well, talking about that talking point, we may as well go into the teams then. No news yet. Keep in mind, we record this Thursday nights. We have not got Brendan Rodgers' press conference yet, so we don't know the status with certain players. I think we can all take the bold assumption that Casper isn't ready yet to come back in, which means, of course, Scott Bain will be finishing will be in goals on Sunday. So back four. What would be your back fours if I was to open up the 40s after the last couple of games? Anybody that jumps to your head?
I generally think for me, Johnson's always your right back. I think I've actually been quite gutted the last couple of weeks when Rocky dropping back at the team.
I think that you've shared the frustration of most of the support.
I don't know what he's doing wrong at a point. Like, 2 performances he's managed to have, thought he's been brilliant. He's done what he could. Carter Vickers will be our centre back. I probably think it'll end up Trusty, and then I can see Taylor.
Do you think Taylor? That's got to be a big talking point. I think. Do you think Taylor will keep his start? Man of the match last week.
I feel like you can't drop him after that game, and especially if you're trying to dangle a contract in front of his face, it helps to get him a start in a semi-final. So I can definitely see that happening.
Having experience as well.
That's it. He's won cups.
Does Trusty start?
I'm conflicted. I think he will.
I do think he will, but I think he's got a lot of making up to do.
He played Scales, but didn't he, at the weekend? So it's so bizarre, the centre back thing. I don't know if Rodgers just picking it out of a hat in the way he's gone. But
there we go. That's Oates Trusty this week. But I think Scales has got a legitimate shout for starting. I think Rodgers really likes Scales, and he didn't play. I mean, it was a couple of questionable passes at the weekend, but he had a generally decent game against Kelly, so he's always in with a shout for playing.
Get that Hamlin goal for you.
If
he starts, you're putting a score on that.
I've manifested it. I didn't mean to, but so, in relation to Calum's back four, do you agree with it? Do you think that will be the four?
I think it should be, to be honest. I think it'll go. Obviously, I would say Miss Calum was a bit bizarre but in a Rocky situation, but it won't change that now. It won't throw him into that game, so it'll be. I think it'll hopefully be Taylor, Trusty, Vickers and Johnston, but you wouldn't be, as you said, I think Scales hasn't done much wrong, so it wouldn't be a surprise if Scales was starting, to be fair to him.
Before I ask you, Kieran, I'll say something that won't be popular, and I don't think it should be the case, but I think will be. I don't think we'll see Mike Nawrocki start a Celtic game again this season. I'll be surprised if we see Mike Nawrocki get in the park this season. I think that might be it.
Aye.
Came in, done his bit. Gone. You got me the Trusty starters.
I'll let him try and redeem himself for shiting it against big physical strikers a few times this season.
He's just channeling his inner Christopher Julian.
Yeah, no.
For goodness sake.
Big wanky.
Midfield three, is that the easiest? Does that pick itself, the midfield three? I think it fixes itself. I think
so, but see what surprised me. I mean, we obviously played really well against Kelly, but that was the area that I thought Rodgers would have been afforded a bit more leeway to change things up because of the performance at McDermott Park. Wasn't great, like for people like Hatate, but
his decision was vindicated. But because I thought Engels played well as well.
But I think it will remain unchanged. But it's just a funny thing because we were sitting here like, I think I dropped one of them, and then they all play fucking class. I mean, we've seen Luke McCowan playing striker for a while on Saturday. That was fucking baffling.
On Sunday, yeah. Start fun. So let's get into what you were talking about, and I think this is a significant part of the preview. Does the front three remain as it was against Kelly? Does it revert back to Maida through the middle? Does the Hampden Park make a difference to it all? Yeah, Kieran, you were the one that alluded to it, so I'll let you kick off.
See, I mean, when we were at McDermott Park, it was obvious, it was pretty evident that Maida wasn't going to have the space to run in behind, use his pace, the ending that's made him player of the year this season. He had a pretty quiet game. He ended up not even getting pushed out wide. It took off for Adam Ida. And Ida was obviously getting a bit more joy and trying to bring the ball down. I mean, it never paid off in that game up at McDermott Park, but it was able to try and bring people into play. And I think at venues like that, that's important, like, especially when teams are sitting in deep. You need that focal point up front, but when you're at Hampden, do you put Maeda through the middle because you're hopefully going to have a bit more space to try and get the ball in behind. Hopefully, with it being a wider pitch, these channels and openings will give him the opportunities to run through. But would you rather stick with what I said about Adam Ida being that focal point up front and bringing everybody else into the game? I just don't know if he'll stick with Ida up front.
What do you make it, lads?
It's a good point, Kieran, because it can go both ways. It's two different ways. It just depends on the way Rodgers wants to tactically approach it, but I think he'll still go Maida through the middle.
Maida?
Aye, but it's a good, I don't know, I think.
You think?
I agree with Kieran. I think a game like this, because you've got much more space in Hampden Park, I think personally I would be going with Dyson through the middle, because again, see if you get to that point and touch Cherrywood doesn't come out, but you're that kind of 60-minute mark and it's still 0-0. That's when you then bring you down to try and kind of like get, not assuming they get us up the park, but he's a decent out ball.
He can get us up the park enough because when he shifts, he shifts. Like, see, I done against Kelly. I think he took a good run for the halfway line, and he's very potent. He should have set up a goal at McDermott Park when he shifted the way that he shifted, and Forrest missed. So I'll come back to the other side of the table and I'll let you start and work your way around then. If you were to pick a front three, the front three that you think should, not what you think Rodgers will go with, I want you to give me the front three you think should start the game, Kieran. Are you going with your Maida reasoning or are you going with either?
I actually don't know, because I think I would personally go with Maida through the middle, but then that brings in the question of the wingers that were dropped at the weekend. Like, have they done enough to get themselves a starting spot? Because obviously the front three that we've waxed lyrical about so much, like for a good part of the season, involved Maida, Jota and Kuhn, has been such a versatile attacking three, but when you were up at McDermott Park, it just wasn't coming after them at all. But does this different venue in Hampden give them that bit more freedom to actually play the way they want to play? I just don't know. I mean, Kuhn, we've been getting a wee bit stinking recently. Is this his time for that front three to come back together and make amends for what happened at McDermott Park?
So you're free?
Aye, I'll go with that.
Right.
I want to see the return.
Right. Dylan?
I'm the same as Kieran, especially I think we were all really hyped up this season with that front three, because we've seen it work at Bayern. It was like probably the last good time we've seen them play at that level, but hopefully, because it's a big game, Hampden, Jota's got experience as well, goals in the semi-final, so I think he'll go Jota, Maida and Kuhn. I think he'll bring Kuhn back in, but I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if he started Forrest, do you know that? Just because of the
goal scorer in the semi-final last year at Hampden, we remembered.
No, if he scored in the semi though, wouldn't his streak wouldn't he continue with it, because the streak's league games? Aye, that would be a gutter, wouldn't it, if he scored?
We need to change the record to all competition.
Calum, you're front three, are you going with the same one?
Yeah, but I think, as he's touched on it, wouldn't be massively surprised if we were to see Forrest starting.
Right.
Solely only because I'm getting their last amount, because Kuhn has been off it for a wee bit. But again, be more than pleasant to see him back in the starting team.
Do you know, is Yang going to be back at the weekend?
Need to wait and see what he says tomorrow. No idea. But he's obviously a wild card. You could throw it in there. I actually have a different front three from you all. And it's not the front three you might expect either. Oh yes, of course. It's not the front three you'd think. I'm not going to say Kuhn, Ida, Maida. I don't know why, but all week I've been thinking to myself, I want Ida through the middle. I just think he made the difference against St Johnstone, and I think he should start. I want Maida on the part, but I'd start Jota on the right. I don't know why something through the week just came to me and said, why no? Because he played on the right for a long time before he left. He can do it, we know that, and I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that, to be fair.
It's a decent shout, by because as you said.
Yeah, if you do start with Maida through the middle and you've got Maida on the left and then Jota on the right, you can also hook Maida hook Ida and just reshuffle.
Exactly. You've got options there. It wasn't me just coming up with it to be edgy, but I thought to myself, like, there's a way. I just think Ida should start. I thought he played well again last weekend, and he needs those goals to add to his numbers. But I thought he played well. Maida obviously is just undroppable, so you've got the two in. But I just think that Kuhn's been dropped for a reason at the minute. So is Jota. Both of them haven't been good enough. But I think that Jota's been the one that's been a wee bit more unlucky. I don't know, maybe that's just favouritism because it's Jota, but I think
I'd agree with that, to be fair. I mean,
I quite like that shout, to be fair, because sometimes you forget Jota's main position was at the right during Andrew's season. A lot of his goals and that have came for that side, so.
I mean, I know he's a natural left winger, but
he can.
Aye, it's no offence to Johnson, they should be able to do it. You know, it's not
5-star week for enemies.
So that's my front three. Just a wee bit of difference. Just a wee bit of difference. Spice up the conversation. So the big part, of course. Dare I ask your score predictions for the game? Calum, I'll start with you.
3-1.
3-1. Keeping it a wee bit lower. Dylan,
I'll go 2-0.
2-0. Clean sheet. Nice. I like it. Kieran,
I want a 3-0. Still the clean sheet, because that was a bit of a gutter against Kelly with that goal taken conceded.
Aye.
But
it was such a weird goal.
I know.
3-0. Anyway, 3-0, there you go. I'm going to go for Celtic 3, St Johnstone 0 as well. That's what I'm going to go for. I'm copying you. Sorry, Kieran. Right, so on to our questions. I'll run through them quickly. Adam, the lad, has got no question for us. Just says, oh no, he does have a question for us, but he did say it first. I got Oasis tickets, just to let you know. I also got Oasis tickets, just to let you know. So he's rubbing that in.
Very nice, Adam.
The face of my man who is angry at you.
Did they say whereabouts? No.
Didn't say
Well,
where.
no,
Didn't say where. He's keeping that private.
I actually seen his tweet earlier. I think it's Croke Park.
Oh, right, it's a good place to get to see them as well, I think. I'd like that.
Aye.
Right, anyways, question. He's looking forward to Sunday. It's not Oasis tickets, but it should be good right enough.
Why, did you get a ticket to Oasis?
Yes, we're all looking forward to Sunday. We are indeed. A few drinks, few beverages. Hopefully the sun appears. I'm expecting an overcast
Aye.
day as well. We're on the bus, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
You going now? You got a ticket?
Aye.
Yeah, good stuff. Where are you sitting?
Behind the goal.
Oh, right,
Just the
right.
tap, but
Right at the God.
it's a bit of a last minute ticket, to be fair, because
Aye.
I finished work at 2 on Sunday, so
Oh.
rushing about.
Oh, God almighty, aye. Right, into the questions. Nathan, can we get a vid of yous trying to recreate some of the goal of the season contenders? Would be a great laugh. God almighty.
That would actually be hours long. Trying to
many
actual, I would like throw my hip out or something, man.
How would we even go about recreating the Adam Ida goal of the season contender? We need to hire like a team of players to do all the passes. Like we need how many bells are there? 4. 7. Aye, 7.
What is going on?
We need to hire 7 people.
Kind of kick my own arse anymore, man.
You've retired, didn't you?
Aye.
Box office Broj, could you rank a few of our most memorable seasons, including this one, to see how it compares? Where would you have this up in terms of seasons, if you were to try and gauge it? Because it's not done yet. So.
Feels like it's been a bit of a bizarre season, like, because it's sometimes you're like, we're actually still going for a treble here, but and then you talk about the Rangers games lately, and it's just like, but then you'll talk about Champions League, and it's been probably the most memorable Champions League campaign in years, because obviously we gave Bayern a good run and cut our big goals at Park the Leipzig game and stuff. So it's been a bizarre season, to be fair.
It's been bonkers. But everything, really.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think back on, obviously you've got the Invincible season as being the benchmark, that, but for me, Angie's second season was up there with probably like the best I'll ever see, because the team was just absolutely unreal.
That was nuts. That was an anomaly of a season. It's just a shame. The one bad thing about that season is how disappointed we were in Europe. Like, it actually pissed me off how pissed we were in Europe. I remember, I come back to this all the time, leaving that stadium in Warsaw that night pissed me off. I was furious leaving that ground.
But domestically.
It
was all rosy.
Saying that, but I was fucking. I think Jordan put it in our Celtic chat the other night. He said it's nuts. We're saying, oh, break your record. Couldn't even fucking hit 100 points.
Aye, that's
So
right.
we just tailed that.
We only took 7 points for our last 5 games for the split.
wasn't it? It was
We won
a
2 games in the split. Like,
Talk about taking the faff the gas,
I
man.
know. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, it was like, even in going into the Scottish Cup final as well, man, we were playing pure shit. I was like, surely Inverness can't do it. See when they got that goal, I was like,
It's a close game, man. They finished 3-1.
3-1, aye, because Jota scored
The last kick of the ball, aye. Listen, I've loved this season, and I've made some great memories in Munich and Zagreb, so I'll hold it very close to my heart. I think end it in style. We'll beat them at Ibrox, please. You
It's
know,
a must.
I think that would.
If you end it in style,
I think if we win at Ibrox and win the treble, I think everybody will go down saying it was a great campaign. Because I think we'll
even the cup final, like, you can talk about the performance, but it was a roller coaster.
Aye.
And it was probably the game of the season, entertainment wise, do you know what I mean?
Because people go, we were poor in the day. Who cares? We won the cup.
Exactly.
I don't care how you win the cup. You win the
The
cup.
Maida winner as well, the Maida belted a goal and the
Aye,
Schmeichel save, so it was just.
On that note, Aidan did follow up with a similar question, actually, saying, how would you compare this team with the Invincibles and with Ange's second season? Obviously better in Europe this year, but haven't had the same relentless mentality the second half of the league that those teams had. Unsure if extra Champions League games have played a part in our mentality. Do you think so? That's actually an interesting point. This is the first time in a long time that we've went, and since 2013 to be precise, that we've had Champions League games in January and February. Has that maybe been an impact? They maybe went, let's calm ourselves down a wee bit, and not really thought of it like that. I
know, because we did, like, obviously earlier in the season talk about the impact that maybe having the extra Champions League games and that will have on players, but I mean, I don't think I've ever really thought about it in that aspect, to be fair, because you're having to maintain a high level of performance a lot longer than us usually getting bapped out at Christmas time, and then obviously getting into the playoff round. I mean, we spoke about the drop-off in form that was noticed since Munich. I'm like, maybe you could excuse it a wee bit, but I don't know.
The way that I word it, and I word it till see if we win the treble once again, touch as Calum said earlier, touch everyone. The way I word it is, see if we do win the treble, I don't think many people are going to look back in years to come and think about that wee run of form. I think they're going to remember the Bayerns and the Europe run and the cups, and I think that's what will be remembered. But the invincible season, and I'm just saying, yeah, we're just special. Like they were. RD Rory asks thoughts on Adam Shagger antics at Wunderbar.
Fucking brilliant, man. I was seeing a video in my lunch. Fucking buckled. That's unbelievable.
I've not seen the full thing.
Oh, it's
Just
it's
waiting
it's-
that
Sick
Jackson.
fuck it.
Because obviously Jai put it in again. I was like, fuck's he talking about? And sure enough, my lunch sitting scrolling through and I seen it. I was like, oh, fuck's sake.
I wonder what night that was.
I was going to see you wonder if it's recent.
I don't know.
One of the games like this, we couldn't kick his ass. Oh, that's why. Birds are grasses. Keep that content to yourself.
Let the man enjoy a night.
I know,
man.
let him enjoy himself, for fuck's sake. You know, we're all human. I mean, Kieran, I've seen you hanging out a taxi being sick before.
No, I didn't see me on Snapchat story.
So were you going to say
I
something?
was wondering also because it's like earlier in the season when fucking Clement was on Wonder Bar as well. I wonder if that was that night. If that was an old video somebody's held on to.
Oh, brilliant. Imagine that, having Clement up in the fucking...
Dancing into the wee hours.
to the fucking... it's the season of the sticks. Well, there's something dancing away here. Do you see Brendan... So the big topic of conversation this past week is about being Brendan Rodgers' contract. Do you see Brendan extending his contract past next season, or do you think we'll see a new face at the helm? I'll have quick answers off you all. Calum, will he sign a new contract?
Hopefully.
Are you hopeful?
Yes.
Right.
No.
No?
Aye.
Right. It's Calum's undecided. Tell him.
Hopefully it is, but that press conference, was it last week? You're like, ooh, I don't know 100%, but hopefully.
Kieran.
Aye.
Aye.
I'm hoping that his comments, as you said, is scaring the...
Lighting a fire.
Aye. Just trying to get the board ready for a summer of spending.
Try to get yourself a Greg Taylor wage rise. I think he will. And I think the reason that I think he will is... Oh, Man United are up 1-0. How lovely. The reason I think that he will is because I think Brendan knows himself that the grass isn't always greener from a playing and managing perspective. And unless there's something already on the table for him, I don't see why he's home here. I know he's no from fucking Glasgow, right? But he's very settled here. He's been here before, had a lovely house, nice life at the club that he supported growing up. Like, I think if he's to leave Celtic again, it'll be on the understanding that something is coming up next. But right now, I don't think there is anything coming up next. So I just don't see why he'd go.
See, one thing I've always got in the back of my head, I'm like, he would definitely love to manage in La Liga. Like, he would want somewhere where he can use that Spanish. Like, he's just not getting the opportunity. Palma's away out on loan.
I could definitely see him managing like Sociedad one day, like somebody like that. I could see that. But
He's returned to the Mestalla.
exactly. I think he will. I think he will. I think he'll put pen to paper. But that'll come into topic next year, I suppose. Let's not waste it all up. Jack Daly, hello lads. How are we doing? Mind when that Fergal Harkin was linked with us to be director of football? Do you remember that?
Aye. I seen his name a couple of weeks ago and something. I was like, just got pure transported back a few years. I was
It
like,
was under Ange, wasn't it?
aye.
Yeah.
And he says, "What is your favourite posh crisp, kettle chips, etc.,
See,
etc.?"
I seen this question, but what is other posh crisps?
Nah, I can't really think.
Kettle chips.
There was one we had at a pub, and it was like Pipers, it was called. It was like a pure mad flavour, but
See,
they're not bad.
We got like a mad wasabi flavoured one that was like masquerading as looking fancy, but I'm very certain it was for Lidl. So that is not fancy, but it was like the hardness of kettle chips.
So there's a new crisp in Costco that I gave up crisp for Lent, so I'm crisp deprived at the minute. I'm gone. I can't wait for midnight hitting Saturday WrestleMania. Put it in my throat. But Costco have just got in for America. The American Costco's have it. It's a black truffle crisp, and apparently it's sensational. And they've got them here now, so I'm thinking I'm going to get a wee bag of them tomorrow when I'm up, so I can take them to.
So you can sit at them all the way through it.
I'll tell you, this isn't posh crisps, right? But I've got a story. So when we were down in London, we went into I would describe it as a very woke establishment. I love the woke establishments, I'm a woke man, but it was like Wiry ones. It's very like, it's all local stuff, guys. It's all local beer and like it's all blah blah blah. So I went up and it was the way home, so I wasn't drinking. I just wanted a juice because it was fucking roasting. So I walked up and I was like, "Can I get a Coke?" And the guy just kind of skewed his face up at me and went, "We actually only have Karma Cola here." And I was like, all right. I was like, I didn't ask for Coca-Cola, I just asked for Coke. So I got this thing called Karma Cola. Lovely. Very nice.
Wolf Cola.
It was called Karma Cola. This is what it said in the can. Organic Karma Cola. And it was apparently made from 100% organic
Karma Cola.
100% organic Karma Cola. So it was nice. Very woke though.
I'll try that.
And what was the question again? What's a fancy crisp?
So any fancy crisp. In some places they'll call it scampi fries fancy, but they're not fancy. I love a scampi fry by all accounts. Ranny's Rovers saying, how mental is it we're getting a Champions League semi-finalist next season for free? Hopefully another striker and centre-back and we can shock the Champions League. P.S. The Bucks bar slander from Ryan and Kieran last week was blasphemous. I want your thoughts, boys. Me and Kieran went on a tirade last week. A tirade about Bucks bar.
So see, to be fair, I think I agree with Kieran. Right? I actually love Bucks bar, but I also agree with Kieran. See the mess.
Aye.
It's brutal. Like we got it like a couple of weeks ago, right? I enjoyed it right enough, right? But you're like, man, just I had to go wash everything down, man. You're
You
like,
need a fucking bath after it.
it's like pure curry dripping everywhere, man. That's just
It
brutal.
pisses air you.
It is great, but
You're a fan of it.
I like it, but I agree with you. It is like, see when you pay that money, it's like a pure mess, man. I was just like, this is pure brutal. It's like it's like a task to eat.
Nah, I don't think it tastes bad. I did say that last week, but if I'm going to be getting... Like, the waiter might as well just come up to me with a sauce bottle and just fucking up and down. Was it the Buck Mac you asked for? 2 seconds. Oh, thank you.
Enjoy your day, son. Enjoy your day.
Eat at the club zone and all that, man.
And next time I go, I'm taking a pair of fucking marigolds with me.
I'm running a boilers.
Calum's fucking down.
It's just pictured him sat
Oh, it's spot on, mate. Cheers.
That'll be 25,000. Calum, are you a fan of Bucks?
I Kieran literally hits the nail in the head. Food's absolutely lovely, can't fault it at all. But fuck me, there's nothing about that messy or that size.
I'm still
It's like, see it spilling out the box. Like, no, it's no need.
I get bigger boxes.
When I had my flat down in Belgrove Street with like David, and I got it delivered one night, and I swear to God, like the sauce was like running out. Like how the wee white styrofoam tray things, like you open it up, it's pissing out the side.
There's probably a fucking trailer up the close as well, man.
His question. What was his question? Tierney coming in for free. Fucking hell.
I wonder what you think about Bucks bar.
He's a really good chance of playing in that semi with Partey out injured. I think a lot of the Arsenal fans seem to be of the agreement of, right, with Partey out, we'll move Lewis Skelly into the middle and get Tierney on the left. That seems to be a very big opinion for him.
Plus, he's done well since he's come on. Like, the last couple, obviously got a wee cameo last night, but he's been like impressing the Arsenal fans and that, and like, why are we letting him go and stuff like that? So
really don't want Arsenal to win the Champions League.
No,
I really don't.
they're unbearable, man.
But Kieran Tierney winning it would be pretty class.
That's the only thing that you want to like.
Because this is the way I think it. Right, I always try and word that we grew up in what we are one of probably the only clubs in the world that idolise a cup win for fucking 60 years ago. Right, we idolise that European Cup. He's a Celtic fan. You'd love to hold that up, and I know it's not in a Celtic shirt, but imagine like me 10-year-old Kieran Tierney going, fuck me, I've lifted the same cup that Billy McNeil lifted and Jimmy Johnson.
You would like to see it for him, but my fuck it, I hate Arsenal fans.
I know, same. It's a shame really.
Did you watch it last night, man? What's your up to, man? The tactics, man.
I think they're throwing
The lack of tactics, that is...
Arsenal's
He's away before the end of the season.
It's confirmed.
He's taking Copa del Rey, and then that's him.
Did that get announced today, or was that already?
I know, announced today.
I generally feel like there was an element of them wanting him away, but it's nuts.
There was definitely talk end of the season, but I think last night's final nail in the coffin.
Was there no link to the Brazil job at a point as well? I'm sure.
I think so.
Something
It's nuts when you think about that. In fact, like Carlo Ancelotti is arguably the best manager ever. Like arguably, like I don't think he is. I think it's Alex Ferguson personally, but Ancelotti's won the European Cup
he's won
more than anybody else. He's won league title after league title. That's probably what's helped hamper him a bit. The fact he's not won it consistently enough with big teams, but fuck me, they're all desperate to get rid of him. I'm like, jeez,
It's nuts.
I carry he's head, man.
Aye.
The Dutch.
Been everywhere. Anyway, do you think next season will feel more intense considering it will be 55 each with Rangers?
I mean, that'll definitely be the narrative the media is going to push anyway, and the closing stages of next season, I can imagine that being a talking point. But I mean, when you're going into this season, I think it'll maybe be said in jest, but I don't think it's going to be anything on the players' minds or anything like that. But title 55 incoming.
Flags ready, boys. Flags ready. I'm going to get in the bath. Choo choo, Scott Brown.
You love it.
You see us doing it? You see us doing it?
Got such a pure raging in the back.
Aye. Choo choo, Scott Brown. Choo choo.
He's poor wee old deary wife standing in the bath.
Why does he say choo choo? I was sat about.
He got a wee bit nervous.
Aye. He can see his face. Aye. Choo choo, Scott Brown.
You love it.
I'm going to find that video when I might put that up in the league. Man. Some of the things you forget. And we have one last question, which is a fucking mouthful, but it's a big one. Jack, hey guys, Ryan 118, you have a fantastic beard, you unrepentant Celtic man, you bud. Thank you. This question is for Calum only.
Oh wow.
What is your favourite Dorito flavour?
That's not Dorito. Wasn't that fucking sweet, man?
I love a Dorito.
I don't actually know. I had it was like a chili and lime one. We were in New York. Fucking lovely.
I know what you're talking about.
I know
mate, is that by any chance in a purple bag?
Aye.
Aye.
Fuck it, I wish you get them here. Probably will, but I'm not paying
Don't they
£6
used
a
to do
bag.
like the stack things or something? Like,
Aye,
the
the
Pringles
tube
stuff or something?
Mate,
Did you get rid of them or something?
Did you like them? No, because I remember we got them dished out. They were that. They didn't sell well at all in Tesco, so we got them dished out for nothing to us one night. Said take as many as you like. So I took about 5 tubs up the road, and they were pretty mince. They were pretty rotten. I still went through all 5 tubs, but compared to a Pringle, they were just they weren't great.
Aye.
So you got with that?
Or forgot me the normal ones. Chili heat wave.
Chili heat wave's just amazing, isn't it?
I wish it was more socially acceptable to eat tangy cheese in public, man.
You're not allowed to answer the questions for Calum only.
I never answered. I just made a general point about how I want to eat tangy cheese Doritos in crowded places. With no judgment.
Fair enough. But right, so last. This is what. No, Kieran only. Kieran only. What's the best flavour of ice cream to have after a breakup? Now, Kieran's never. I don't think you've ever been for a breakup.
That feels oddly personal. And do you know something I don't?
If you were to choose though. If you were to break up with God, I don't know what different scenarios in there.
Let's me just answer an ice cream. Ben and Jerry's half baked brownie cookie dough. That would cure my soul.
Nice. And that was for Kieran only, so none of you can answer.
Don't even think about it.
And the final part of the question is for everybody. I think so. Who's winning the NBA championship? Clippers in 5. Telling you right now, Clippers in 5. You can have OKC, KFC, UFC, Clippers in 5. I think it'll be the Boston Celtics. I think it will be them, but I'm holding it in a miracle for the Clippers. Harden's getting his ring, and then for everybody else, no, Kieran can miss this out. Who is winning at WrestleMania? Cody Rhodes or John Cena? It's WrestleMania weekend. It's of course going to get a mention. Cody Rhodes or John Cena?
I answered mine. We're setting up my mics. John Cena.
You're a John Cena man.
Fucking love him.
Is he doing it? Number 17?
That's it.
Dylan.
the GOAT. 17's
Although
coming.
I know you're a big Cody man as well, though.
Aye, but Cena's the GOAT. He's a main man. Love Cody, but Cena's a main man.
I think it'll be Cena. But as the last few days have crept in, I'm getting a feeling that Cody might. Getting a feeling. So, we'll see.
Who'd you want to win, but you want Cena?
Oh, I want Cena to win.
Aye.
I don't mind though, because I love Cody. But I just want it to be Cena. And that is all for the questions. Thank you. And that was a great wee show. I enjoyed that, lads. Thank you very much. Any closing thoughts that you would like to put out there?
No. I better save the rest of the words I've got for the Thunder Club.
On that note, we're going to head over to the Thunder Club and get that done very quickly. But thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week, hopefully as Scottish Cup finalists. But take care of yourself. God bless, and we'll see you all next time.